Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the film I'm Still Here. This has been a box office success in Brazil and has resulted in Brazil's first ever Golden Globe for Best Actress for the remarkable performance of Fernanda Torres. It has also resulted in 3 Oscar nominations, including for Best International Feature Film, which is why I'm reviewing it, Best Actress, and perhaps a little surprising, Best Feature Film. The film is set during the 1970s in Brazil, where there was a military dictatorship, and it revolves around Eunice Beva and her family. Her husband, who had previously been a politician in Brazil, has been arrested by the state, and the film revolves around her trying to seek out where they have kept him and whether he is still alive, as well as exploring how justice can be served for his disappearance. In this video, I'm going to review the film, and then I'm going to look at how well it could do in the Oscar race for Best International Feature Film, which will include delving into Brazil's past in the category. So let's roll and review that film. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Paul, and I review the best of world cinema, and I follow the race for Best International Feature Film Academy Award, from countries selecting their submission to the final winner. I'm Still Here is Brazil's Oscar submission, which has received a nomination for Best International Feature Film. It is currently having a late surge in the award cycle campaigning, which has resulted in it also receiving a Best Actress nomination and even a nomination for Best Picture. I find the film a very solid film that has much love in its native country because it really tells a secret story from Brazil's history, which has created a sense of solidarity and unity for the country. And I think the key element of this film, which is why it's so successful, is this stunning performance by Fernanda Torres, which deservedly has got a Best Actress nomination. She is able to have a very measured and nuanced performance of the lead character by not resorting to over melodramatic cliches. Instead, you see this gradual build-up of fear, frustration, and disempowerment within her face, and how she has to keep it all together as the head of the family. I think there are stronger performances from the films released in 2024. However, out of the 5 nominations for Best Actress, I think she's one of the strongest, and I would love to see her win the award. Another element I really loved about this film is the stunning cinematography. You get a real sense of the time period the film sets, such as very nostalgic photos that look like they're from the 1970s. You also get the use of handheld camera footage through the home videos, which really creates a sense of the technology of that age. And while it might seem a little bit cliched, you also have a character who just loves cinema. So there's loads of dots of cinematic references through posters and through the film itself. I think I'm Still Here is a very accessible film, and it has provided so much pleasure and important memory for a whole nation. I'm really pleased with its awards nominations because it provides an opportunity to widen the audience of the film to a much more international audience. However, I do have some minor reservations for the film, which I think makes it a good film rather than an outstanding film. The first 30 minutes are meant to set the tone of the film by providing the context of different family relationships. It's meant to show the bonds between the mother, the father, and the various children that they have, and therefore setting it up so when the father is arrested, we explore the bonds between the different family members. And while I think this is a really good way of starting the film because it provides so much character context, I think the thing that slightly unsettled me was the fact this family bond felt so nostalgic and so positive. There was no exploration of tensions between family members. There was no real proper arguments. It all felt very house on the prairie, everyone gets along, etc. This almost rose-tinted view of the family took me out of the film because I don't believe families have such a positive relationship. There is obviously positives, but there's within every family unit tensions, arguments, whatever they may be. And I completely get that this is a very personal film for the director. However, I do feel it felt very unrealistic in this rose-tinted approach to portraying families. The second issue I have is the way it's split into different sections and some of the content of those sections. And while I appreciate the reasons why it did this, because it jumps time periods to show the devastating effect of the military dictatorship through the generations. My concern is the fact the middle section where they're exploring the right to recognise that his disappearance and ultimately death is as a result of the military dictatorship. Felt it was overblown with sentimentality. There was a really strong score that you very much heard and felt very much directional, telling you what to think during this period, rather than using sombre and silence in order to generate a very unsettling mood. And this theme was also covered in the film Our Mothers, but except the time period and country was in Guatemala. And their approach was much more sombre and silent, as recognising the full shockingness of the role the state had in the disappearance of these people. And I think this probably comes down to personal preferences, but I quite like that stripped back approach to such topics because it feels the weightiness of it is much more impactful. I felt I was being pushed towards particular feelings by the film rather than me internally having those feelings, which took me out of the emotional engagement of the film. As I said before, these are only personal preferences, and I still really enjoyed the film. I thought it was very moving. I thought it was very educational, and it's really one that has captured the national consciousness of Brazil. I think this is a really important film, and we should all be learning in the current political climate from that time period. I would therefore give I'm Still Here 4 stars. So let's have a look at how well it could do in the Oscar race for Best International Feature Film. Since the Cannes Film Festival last year, there was almost an expectation that France would win Best International Feature Film, the first time since the early 1990s for Emilia Perez, and the bookies had them as the firm favourite throughout the time period. However, a number of contributing factors has meant the race for Best International Feature Film is still a little open. Historic tweets and PR disasters for Emilia Perez, plus the Golden Globe Best Actress winning award, has really put I'm Still Here in contention to win Best International Feature Film Oscar. However, at the BAFTAs, Emilia Perez did win the Best Non-English Language Film, and so it's not a done deal that Emilia Perez has sunk completely. I will give my take on the Oscar nominations and look in more detail the Oscar race in a separate video, so please do subscribe to Global Film Pool if you want to check that out. Brazil's overall performance at the Oscars in recent history has been relatively poor. In the 21st century, they've only ever had one submission make the shortlisting phase, in 2007 when my parents went on vacation. They also have never won the Best International Feature Film Oscar and have had 5 films nominated for the award, including I'm Still Here. However, you have to go back to 1998 for Central Station, which was the last Brazilian film to be nominated for an Oscar. And to connect it with this year's awards, the lead actress from Central Station was Fernanda Montenegro, who happens to be the mother of Fernanda Torres, who have both received Best Actress nominations. So it's not long now until we find out whether France will win the Best International Feature Film Oscar, or will Brazil have a late surge with I'm Still Here to win the award for the first time. Do subscribe to Global Film Pool for more Oscar news and reviews for Best International Feature Film Academy Award.